Hello, everybody. Been looking forward to this cold down here in Florida for a while, although I can understand that people up north are suffering pretty bad, so I hope that everybody up north is staying safe, staying warm, that they've, hunkered down and made it through these recent snowstorms. We're probably not out of the woods quite yet when it comes to that because there's predicted like 30-degree weather down here in another half week or so, that's probably going to be a reflection of another wave of cold up north. But it's nice for us, I hope anybody who can afford to come down here comes down here and has a good time and chills out. And, it's been very chill here recently. Like, genuinely, it's been more chill than it's been in the last 2 years at any time. That's a good sign. So, hope everyone's doing good. Welcome back. I needed to correct the record. On, I said that it's viable for adults to take like weed brownies in the evening to sleep. And then I said dream and then coffee in the morning to wake up. But that's actually not true. The biggest problem, the terminal flaw with cannabinoids is that especially THC obliterates your ability to dream, or at least to retain your dreams. And that is, well, in my opinion, it's a weakness, and it's a pretty severe weakness. It's much more severe than the sedatedness that people get usually when they're already tired, or the hunger that people get, which sometimes can lead them to making poor dietary decisions. Nothing is quite as bad as the destruction of your dreams. So, caveat, I was wrong. I'm glad to be wrong. I'm glad to correct the record. I'm glad to get right, but I'll try not to be so wrong in the past. Like I said, Napoleon invaded France in the winter. Everybody knows that's Napoleon invading Russia in the winter. Same with Hitler invading Russia in the winter. Same with anybody else that tries to invade Russia in the winter. It's not going to go well. So, gonna try to stop messing up so much like that. Although, I would imagine people are pretty forgiving and kind in general. That's usually a projection, like, oh, you misspelled something. That's usually more of a projection. That's more of a role play than an actual genuine feeling inside. And the people who probably indulge that the most are suffering right now because it's so cold that, it's distracting. It's I've noticed a lot of the people that I butt heads with, and this is why, tend to be more of the stimulant personality. Stimulant cells stay seething at downer chads. But no, if you're like a stimulant head and you have a really good time during the extremely hot summers, and you have very low BMI, you're probably not having a good time right now. And I would suggest to bundle up, wear cotton, and maybe stop doing stimulants and get onto, the health train, You don't need them. You don't need dopamine if you are using your willpower to move yourself in the right direction and achieve serotonin and lock in oxytocin environments. That's all you really need. You don't need anything else. You really don't. And in the Buddhist religion, you're supposed to be able to tap into like every single part of the brain that releases chemicals when you do drugs through meditation. Whether that's true or not, well, you look at those crazy Shaolin monks doing backflips and standing on spears and stuff, and you go, maybe they are unlocking some natural stuff in there. Or maybe that's just an extreme amount of training. Regardless, it's really cool to look at the infrared and see them being able to like channel chi into their hands to heat up their hands and like use that as healing. It's very interesting. Now, to the degree to which it actually is healing and not psychosomatic because it's impressive, well, I don't know. I don't know about things like that. I do believe in miraculous healing, but not to the extent that some people do now. Cloud seeding is really taking off with religious people. Surprisingly enough, religious people that don't believe in like man-affected climate change, like you wipe out all the trees and all of a sudden the wind is much, much worse and the storms are much, much worse and it's flooding and there's more fire because there's the understory has been evaporated to the point where it's just a tinderbox. It's surprising to me that people can't get the latter, but the fact that people are accepting the fact that there is a potential that humans can affect the weather, like they can seed the clouds and et cetera, to a small degree in reality. The fact that they can put that in their conceptualization is a step in the right direction. It means that they can accept the overall premise eventually when it's rationalized enough with good logic, good science, showing your work, and not insulting people, you know. You see, when people are good Christians or good Muslims or, good Jews, they focus themselves very severely. And that's what's part of having a living culture is. It's about focusing all your potential. As a human being, we can adapt to anything. But a culture is about focusing all your potential into what serves the community, what serves the culture. And so Christians have they only think about God and they only think about Satan. They don't really tend to think about the other demons that much. They don't tend to think about the other angels as much. Whereas ancient people, especially Hindus, they would regard all of the vast net of what was the name? Preternatural. That zone in between supernatural and natural, which is to say spirits that are only rationalized with religious language. Also, people try to use psychological language, but a lot of the time it falls short compared to the language of our ancestors. You say things like BPD, you say things like schizophrenic, you say things like delirium or psychotic. That doesn't nearly capture it as much as Seven Deadly Sins, as much as gateways to possession. Like, you got to guard your gates, got to guard your eyes, your ears, your nose, even guard your mouth, bridle your tongue, and be careful of what you consume. All of these are gateways to, you can see, imbalances, and thus the language of our ancestors is far, far wiser than we give it credit for. The ancient languages are mostly vowels. It's interesting. You go study ancient languages, and it's mostly vowels. So Welsh, being a language which mostly consists of consonants and has some words, which is rare, that are pure consonants with no vowels. That's a very rare thing. It's a very fascinating language. And that's probably why a lot of people say, oh, Welsh is a fake language. Nah. It's just a really neat Celtic language. That's all. So, I was speaking about Pete Buttigieg a couple streams ago, and I really, really do hope he's out of a job. And I really, really hope his last job, McKinsey Company, closes up shop. You know what they do, right? You know what McKinsey Company does? I say about how a lot of people mistrust the scientists at this point. Well, they're on the forefront of making science untrustworthy. They're on the forefront of rationing people to inhumane levels of calories in jails, prisons, in military, with fake science, saying, "Oh no, you can have a worker who is only consuming 1,600 calories. That's fine." That's what McKinsey was doing, and they were fixing bread prices, straight up communist shit. But at the end of the day, it's the same evil you saw in the Soviet Empire has metastasized itself into the United States empire. It really has. It's very, very obvious with our gulags and concentration camps. It's very, very obvious with how our a lot of our state loyal people, I'm not going to say police, I'm not going to say, FBI, CIA, I'm just going to say state loyal people, from the very bottom up to the very top, will literally snitch out their neighbors, will snitch out their family members, and do it willingly and do it with malice, because they want to more faithfully serve the state of America. And whether or not you have bald eagle, American flag, that's communist shit at the end of the day. It really, really is. Oh, God. I'm seeing Marjorie Taylor Greene a lot, and she didn't do anything to help save Matt Gaetz. I mean, at the end of the day, Matt Gaetz was dumb enough to fall into what they call honeypot, which is this this Jewish pimp guy who's in prison right now. He was giving his hoes false IDs and setting them out to compromise people and politicians and stuff like that. and he got compromised, and Marjorie Taylor Greene hitched her wagon to him, and it's like, that didn't help at all. But the worst criticism I have of Marjorie Taylor Greene was when I was on Kiwi Farms. I saw she got swatted, and then one of the swatters, I'm pretty sure Tor Swats, who was upset with the Kiwi Farms for putting their information on there, which is one of the best things the Kiwi Farms can do, is, literally be on the forefront of helping police solve criminal problems that genuinely make people's lives worse and genuinely hurt people through the knowledge of technology and the intelligent people that they have there. Who I have literally never had a problem with one time. I've never had a problem with the intelligent people on Kiwi Farms one time. Only this group of Discord freaks who like to hang out and watch movies together. That's essentially the only part of the website that I had issues with. And Null's moderator, one of his moderators, straight up told him what was going on in my life, and then he just completely ignored it for some of these scumbags. It was super impressive on how in the world could you be that dumb, man level. But regardless, speaking of how could you be that dumb, Marjorie Taylor Greene literally took this ransom note, this fake, confession, and she went after a moderator named Autistic Right. Funny name, cool guy. And she legitimately tried to get him in trouble. That's insane, in my opinion. That's batshit crazy. So that's friendly fire, and it was really funny when Autistic Right was just like, I don't know, man, I think I should quit. Null was like, I'm not allowing you to quit. You are not allowed to leave the front line, soldier. I don't think I'll ever be able to see that often, in the economy culture as it is, but that's something that makes a good leader at the end of the day. Just telling people, no, your suspicions are worse than reality, keep up the good work and you'll be fine. Zionists getting people's bosses to press them, alongside the most annoying people in society, sharpening their long knives. That is really not going to work well for Israel's future. I'm serious. Anybody who hitches themselves to this wagon will be tracked, and they will be recorded straight up. I know for a fact that's going to be the consequence. Just a lot of people are, unlike me, who doesn't receive any Florida state assistance and never has and never will, who doesn't have the sort of job that you can compromise by calling people and, oh, I'm going to make your life hell until you fire this anti-Semite. I can say whatever I like, until they straight up get rid of the First Amendment. I can speak on it, and so I will. And if that annoys you, you shouldn't just leave. In fact, you should listen up, because it is a bad investment to think that Zionism is a viable option, as a viable future. It has anything going on that's going to extend past 2 or 3 years from now. Really. So, the biggest issue I have with Null is that he doesn't seem to know the difference between honest archivists and retards that kiss his ass and then run to him every single time they can manipulate him with, emotional and warped facts. How you properly lie. You take something true that looks right, you warp it in such a way, and then you build a conch shell of lies around it. That's how you properly lie. And I'm telling you this so that you can determine what a lie properly is. And it usually contains some level of truth. But it's manipulated, it's warped, it's stacked in a very improper way, it's unbalanced. And if you as a leader can't tell, you don't bother to listen to your moderators, instead listen to randos, you need a reality check. That's exactly why I keep going off about this. But, I genuinely hope he does well. I've said this many, many times. I'm not spiteful towards Null. I'm not really going to be following him that much. I'm sure I'll get updates on his goings-on from Sean Martin's Potentially Criminals chat. But, that's That's the past. And you know, I was talking about how they nursed me back to health and I tried to be the nurse. If I look at that in my memories, it's pretty square. You know, it's pretty balanced, it's pretty even. Things are fine. I never left with too much of a issue. And in fact, Null actually let me mess around on an alt for a while pretending that he didn't care until eventually I told this retard opiate addict that I fucked his mom. And that got people upset enough to bug Null enough to get me kicked off of my alternate account. It is what it is. I left the website with very little remorse after that. Whereas the first time, it's just like, whoa, man, that is not right, you know. You did me dirty. Oh well. Sometimes you get done dirty, and sometimes you just gotta wait, not be spiteful, and see how it works out in the future. Maybe it'll all work out for the best. As I said, maybe he did me a favor. Maybe he knew that there was going to be just a massive wave of Zionist cucks on his website, like iGuy spreading propaganda all the time. Maybe he knows that, like, a few of his moderators will do it for free as long as they get, you know, that Fox News affirmation of their previously held beliefs. I don't know. I don't really know the economy of the moderatorship and the adminship. I remember one time I got into a little bit of a trouble because I was just, you know, like, paying their moderators. I also wanted to get rid of at my peak on the website, I really wanted to find a way to get rid of the watch people die thread. It's just like, it's not live leak. What the fuck are you doing? And it's like literally not viable to most of the website. Here I am doing the absolute opposite. You know, posting pictures of animals and nature, and you got live leak videos, a couple of, you know, subsections down. But it is what it is, you know. That's the price you got to pay when you have some level of free speech, right? Some level of free speech. So anyways, I don't have a lot of notes for today. I'm sorry, I don't have a lot of thoughts to share at the moment. It's cold, hope people are staying warm, you know. Take care.